Time for the second and last keynote on AI. Matt Prebble, Senior Managing Director, Data and AI Lead at Accenture.
Okay, give it up for Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt and his team at Accenture researched 1,800 experiences companies have with using AI. And today he will present to us the 5 key figures on how to use AI.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
Good luck.
Look, privileged to be here today. What I'm going to share with you today is an extension of the work that we did with Davos, with the World Economic Forum. I'm going to take an hour presentation and try and do it in 7 minutes, so wish me luck on that front. Look, so it was William Gibson, the science fiction writer, who wrote, "The future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed." So let's just start with the insights in terms of what we've got today. Now, we've done about 1,500, just over 1,500 generative AI engagements overall. And let me just give you a few takeaways and hopefully a couple of nuggets around the future. So across all industries, so all industries impacted as you'd expect, I'd call out financial services as the industry that's had the most impact in production. And that's because they got the most problems that are LLM-shaped in terms of LLM-shaped problems. If you actually look across all industries and use cases, about 2/3 of the use cases are in 4 key areas. Customer service, as you'd expect, marketing, content management, digital operations, coding and technology, and then finally knowledge management. Clients have taken a 2-tiered approach, a 2-speed approach to how they approach it. On the one hand, they focus around brilliant basics and how do I implement quick wins, which is usually making interventions in existing processes. Secondly, a new operating model and a new approach around transforming the core of the value chain and some of the bigger strategic bets. A good example, and we had a wonderful panel on this earlier, is in life sciences, with things like clinical trials. We're actually looking at changing the whole of the decision science around clinical trials. In terms of delivery, everybody lands on a hub and spoke type model. Depending on the company, they kind of centralize more. If it's more federated, then they'll federate more in terms of services, but you need some level of centralization. That said, most of the innovation doesn't happen in the center. It still happens on the edge. So getting that federated hub and spoke model to work is absolutely key. This is a useful chart to kind of plot the maturity of an organization and where they're at. The reality is that most organizations are somewhere between 2 to 3. And this is a great chart to work with the CEO and the board when trying to explain the journey. What you find is that people start out with experimentation. They get into some sort of POC hell where there's hundreds and in some client cases, thousands of POCs going across the organization. They have a pivot back to centralizing and then say, how do I get some sort of coordination, some sort of handle on this in the enterprise? What you then find is some federation in functions where you're saying, how do I apply Gen AI to a specific function and how do I drive that forward? Now, that's usually coupled with a productivity initiative, like a ZBB type initiative at the moment, say, how do I take cost out? But then you've got a number of clients, and it's less than 10% in all the work that we've done, that have really focused on the reinvention and the reimagination journey, which say, not how I take the existing processes today, but how do I run the business differently? And we're starting now to get real client examples where you can point at to say, actually, you're starting to deliver some productivity improvement and some impact. Now, whether that's the work that we've done in terms of agents in travel with CIODAY, where you've now got AI agents helping with travel booking in the Middle East, and there's a big impact at the moment in the Middle East, whether it's BMW, where all major software development now goes through AI processes, where we're seeing impacts of around 20 to 30% in terms of the knowledge management to help deliver change. Whether that's also then the sort of work with Fortune, who've taken a large language model, fine-tuned it, and put it at the heart of their business to say, how do I report the Fortune 500? How do I keep my customer data? I've got to have this as a key differentiator. I would call out BBVA, which is a Spanish bank, in terms of the impact that they're having at the moment in the market. They truly are. They've elevated the chief data officer and the CIO to the main board. You have a chief data officer sitting at the main board, and they're looking at big areas of their business like risk and saying, I'm going to build out an agentic architecture truly with humans working with technology to say, how am I going to deliver change? Now, through all of this, we've had 5 big lessons, and this is what we started out with the 100 CEOs that we did this with in Davos, and we've tracked it all the way through the course of this year, and we're going back in January, February next year to present this back. But there is 5 things that are consistent across all the implementations that are key to that success in rolling out. 1, leading with value. 2, this concept of having a strong digital core in the enterprise to be able to scale generative AI. 3, which hasn't had enough focus, which is the reinvention of talent and how talent and new ways of working. 4 is this isn't an SAP ERP project where you have a start, a middle, a finish, and you test and UAT. It's a continual innovation cycle, so you need to embed that within the organization. And 5, spanning everything, which is responsible AI and how do you get that right, given that companies that win in the future will be those that win in trust. And that is such an important statement. So let me talk about this very briefly in the last couple of minutes remaining. So where is the value? So understanding whether you're looking at interventions within existing processes or reimagining processes and prioritizing that in the organization and getting the buy-in through the end-to-end, all the stakeholders is absolutely key. What we found is the majority of the value is between the intersection of the functions. So therefore, the ability to get all the stakeholders to work together, which is super hard to get that impact, is absolutely critical because it's within the seams of that connectivity between the functions that the value truly is. In terms of the digital core, what we found as well is you have different large language models used for different use cases, and therefore you need to create a different digital core in addition to the work you've done in cloud and security. This concept that we've created with NVIDIA called AI Refinery, we've just implemented that with our own marketing function, where we now have agentic architecture working with humans to do all the work that we do about campaigns and tracking campaigns. We found this concept immensely helpful in terms of delivering the change. And then this I really want to stop on for like 20 seconds, which is this understanding of the roles that exist today, then drilling down to the task level, then taking those tasks and understanding the impact, understanding what labor that releases and how do you divert those labor in the roles in the future is absolutely key. And some of our most sophisticated clients have gone down to this level for all the major business functions. And then this cultural change as well, which is like for every euro or pound that you spend on the technology, you actually need to spend more on the people and the impact of the people. And it's only when you get the people combined with the process combined with the technology that you actually get things that have impact in production. And then finally, responsible AI and the importance of responsible AI. I just think that trust equation is so critical as we move forward. Again, in the breakout, we had a super conversation around that overall. So that was the key presentation. I've consolidated an hour down to there, and I'll just finish with a Bill Gates statement, which I think is really, really key at the moment in amongst all the hype. I think we underestimate at this point in Gen AI, we overestimate at this point in Gen AI the impact that we can have in a year. But from everything I've seen working with clients, if you look further out to 5 to 10 years, I think we're underestimating the impact overall we have in 5 and 10 years. And on that note, I wish you a great rest of the conference. Thank you very much.
Prebble, thank you very much.